The Muckrakers are restless. This is today's News Talk, TNT.
Well, welcome back to the Muckrakers with me, Andrew Eborn, joined by Basil Valentine and my very special guest, Harvey Goldsmith. And we were talking about Taylor Swift just before the break. A couple of things on her. She recently had to cancel one of her concerts in Vienna over security issues. And also in the press today, we've got lots of talks about Trump posting fake AI images of Taylor Swift and Swifties, falsely suggesting that he has the singer's support. What's your take on both of those, Harvey?
Obviously, nobody cancels. There were 3 stadium concerts in Vienna. Nobody cancels those unless they have absolute reason to believe there's a threat. And we've seen what happened in Manchester and so on and so forth. So the last thing anybody wants was to just ignore it, carry on with the concert, and God forbid there was an attack. So that was clearly not done without serious deliberation and information that it was happening, and it was in Vienna. As to Trump, listen, the more lunatic things that Trump does, everybody knows, I think, that Taylor Swift is supporting the Democrats. I think that's pretty clear, isn't it? I think she said so. And for Trump to push that out and all the rest of it, it's lunacy. And the more of a lunatic he is, the more he seems to get more and more support. So I don't know what to tell you about America. I don't live there. The whole thing is nuts to me, completely bonkers. And you would think a person who has done the things that supposedly he has done of that nature, by now people would have said, okay, lock him up, we'll put him back in his cupboard and let's find somebody real. Out of 230 odd million people, they can only dig up Donald Trump as as a candidate is disgraceful. But there you are. That's what you got.
It is incredible, isn't it? What's also interesting, as I say, is the use of celebrities to endorse these different campaigns. And Taylor Swift, she's been subject to a number of these things. There was a fake one you might remember at the Grammys red carpet, where she was shown holding up a banner saying Trump won, Democrats cheated. And that was obviously sort of faked on that sort of basis. And as you say, she previously talked about Marsha Blackburn of Tennessee. She criticized him in her documentary Miss Americana. She said she was basically Trump with a bad wig on, worked on that sort of basis. But it is interesting because celebrities are used a lot by political parties. Do you think they make a difference?
In America, they do have influence. They are major fun. I mean, the American political system is so different from ours. And the whole thing is about raising funds. That's what it's all about. And so a large number of people in the entertainment business, whether they're actors or film stars or indeed musicians, do that. In England, it's not the same at all. There are very few musicians and entertainers who actively go out and promote a political party. It's just not, it's a different system. And it's always been that way in America. It's nothing new at all. So you can't really compare the two. I'm not sure what goes on in Europe. I suspect the similar situation to the UK, that politics is politics and entertainment is entertainment. But in America, it's intertwined because politics is entertainment in America, except the serious part of the business, of course.
No, it is interesting. Well, the Dixie Chicks, it actually backfired for them in March 2003. That's the country band. And they publicly criticised President Bush, which triggered a backlash during their tour about Iraq and the imminent invasion. And I actually think they split their fan base and got a lot of criticism about that. Basil, what's your take on that?
Well, the Chicks, of course, dropped the Dixie because of its association with the Confederacy in the wake of the Black Lives Matter riots. So they're now just the Chicks. But where I is concerned, I'm concerned about its impact on creativity. And in that respect, I'm supported by the New Order songwriter Peter Hook, who's taken aim at songs written with the help of AI, saying every single one created has been a 4-letter word that begins with S and ends in T. And I don't know, Harvey, if you've ever heard any decent songs written by AI. For that matter, I'm also concerned about the quality of songwriting in general in the music business. To my mind, there aren't the writers around that there were in the 1970s. And of course, also, Tin Pan Alley doesn't really exist anymore. Most artists like to write their own material if they possibly can, or at least co-write it, because, of course, that's where the money is, in the publishing. Whereas, back in the day, of course, you had singers like Tom Jones, Frank Sinatra himself, who sung compositions entirely written by other people. So a couple of points there.
Harvey?
No, they're very good points. They're very valid. Life changes. You can't stop evolution, and the whole entertainment business has evolved. Has it evolved positively? Personally, I don't think so, but it's evolved, and I can't. I'm not here to stop it, and I'm not here to put a break on it. I think the way it works with publishing today, there's normally half a dozen writers. So, everybody takes a bit of credit on a song that's put together. There is a lot of collaborations between the ilk and the genre of music that takes place. I mean, Ed Sheeran collaborates with a whole host of people, and so on and so forth. So that definitely carries on. As to AI, it's early days yet. Again, it's a bit. I remember many years ago I was a representative for the UK, going to a meeting at a big entertainment conference called MEDEM in France. And we met with all of the commissioners of the EU. And there's one particular, they're divided up into numbers with various, and they're called DGs. So the Director Generals, the DGs of 10, which is culture and entertainment, came down to meet with a group of people, and the chief executive of SACEM, which is the French equivalent of the Performing Rights Society in England, and Gamer in Germany, which is the German equivalent, they collect on behalf of the songwriters, stood up and said blatantly, we have to stop the internet. Well, I'm afraid that doesn't work. So we have to embrace it. We have to find ways of dealing with it. And in the same way as AI has a huge amount of positiveness, which is slowly but surely, manifesting itself. But nevertheless, there's always a bad side. And unfortunately, the media concentrate on the bad side. They don't talk about the good side of what AI does. I'm not a big proponent of it, but what I do know is it's unstoppable. It's here to stay. It bed itself into society of how artificial intelligence works, how it can be used. Let's stop just preying on the bad side of it, and let's think of the positive side of it, because that's what's going to be there for a long time going forward.
No, you make some excellent points. I always say it's our greatest human achievement, but potentially our biggest existential threat. And the biggest thing to do is to use it as a co-pilot. And you made Drake and The Weeknd, that sort of collaboration, that was all done by AI and fooled the world. And it was very, very good. Elon Musk's partner, or ex-partner, Grimes, the artist, she says that AI can use her voice, but she'll basically split the royalties with people who use AI on that sort of basis. But you've also had the emergence, haven't you, of these sort of virtual artists as well. The AI virtual pop singer. You have Nunu Uri, I think is Nunu Uri. Is that how you pronounce her name? Warner Music made a deal. They signed her up, which is kind of saves all the riders and things like that. I mean, you're involved with a lot of immersive theatre and these up and coming holograms and so on and so forth. What's your take on the future where you can actually embrace this technology, Harvey?
Well, we are embracing technology. We're always embracing it. I think, look, immersive theatre is a bit different. Immersive theatre really should be called interactive theatre, where the audience can interact with the presentation that's going on and make choices and go through and be part of the creative process and create it themselves. And it's becoming more and more popular all over the world. As to AI, I think ultimately a deal, and it's probably going to happen much sooner than we think, that a deal will be done with the AI companies and the owners of copyrights of how to deal with it. because clearly what can't happen is AI can't take over and take away somebody's right who's created something and then they've copied it and used it to their own ends. There has to be an arrangement done, as there were when the collection societies first came about, of how to protect copyrights of people in terms of authors, whether it's literature and musicians and songwriters. The same. There has to be a protective process. Again, it's going to need a government move on it around the world. They're slow coming forward, but because they're trying to figure out which way to go on it. But it will happen.
Yeah, I mean, it is interesting. Lots of people, as you say, because these machines, they need to feed on copyright material, and they feed on thousands upon thousands of different copyright works. And it's just trying to work out what a deal might look like, because it's pennies. I mean, less than pennies, isn't it?
Yes. Well, whatever the deal is, I mean, that's going to be the subject of some very serious negotiations. But there has to be a deal. Because the world has to be capable of protecting the rights of an originator. We have all sorts of copyright laws that exist at the moment. They just need to be adapted to take into account the whole artificial intelligence. And what you said is absolutely correct. The only information that AI has is what's fed into it. So what's fed into it is copyrighted material, and therefore it has to be protected.
Yeah. Finally, Harvey, and we've sort of run out of time with all the hamster wheels and various other bits and pieces. What's the most exciting thing about the future of the entertainment industry?
Well, the one good thing about the entertainment industry is it's exciting. Full stop. Every week something else comes out. I hear of a new idea. I see a new artist. I'm told about something. That's the exciting part of it. And despite all of the problems that we just talked about for the last hour, somehow great talent rises to the surface. And whatever that new talent is, it has to come from the street. People have to follow it and agree with it. But we're going through it. We've been through a very, in my opinion, a lull in creativity. But nevertheless, that curve will start to go up again. There's always an exciting future. There's lots of things going on. There is going to be, I think, a lot of attention to climate change and the environment in the next few years, because I think that's the one agenda that young people en masse all agree is the future of their lives, and they're all concerned about it. So therefore something has to be done. And I think that's important.
Very interesting. It's also going back to those sort of role models, isn't it? And making sure that we find the Taylor Swifts, the clean cut, so on and so forth, where anger is an energy, but if you can turn that into something creative, that's got to be good. It's been an absolute delight having you on. In spite of all the technical issues, I'm glad we managed to eke you out. Hopefully we'll come back in full Technicolor next time, be able to see you as well. Basil Valentine, thank you very much for joining us. Basil will be back with me on Thursday. I'll be back with you tomorrow. Thank you very much for joining us. And I can tell you that we've got Elon Musk's dad. He's going to come on the programme. He'll be telling us about all the Musketeers and what their plans are to dominate the world. Join us then.